15. Hyperscape. Hyperscape is one of the most recent battle royale games that arrived off the back of Fortnite and Warzone's popularity. This time, Ubisoft Montreal is the team at the helm. Hyperscape puts a cyberpunk spin on the genre, with players having access to hacks that grant the user unique special abilities. That's not the only area that Ubisoft has innovated on battle royale conventions, though. Hyperscape does away with the idea of the circle. Instead, random sections of the map will periodically disappear until a final zone remains or until a single player or team remains. Alternatively, a crown will also spawn in the final zone, turning the last minute of the game into a king of the hill where the player holding the crown at the end of the timer is declared the winner. Hyperscape received praise at launch for its style and unique twist on a genre that was becoming boring. However, the lack of proper in-game balancing and low player base has led to Ubisoft announcing its intentions to overhaul the game going into the future. Game available on PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One. 14. Hellbound. Survival Mode. Hellbound. Survival Mode is a free add-on for Hellbound, a first-person shooter designed as an homage to 90s-era games like Doom, Quake, and Duke Nukem. Rather than being an overly complicated AAA with multiplayer, Hellbound. Survival Mode is a grotesque and violent arena survival where players have one single objective: use big guns to kill giant demons. It's simple and effective, hence the very positive review rating it has on Steam. Players that enjoy survival mode are encouraged to purchase the base Hellbound game, as many of the core gameplay mechanics cross over between the two, but it's not been quite as well received. Game available on PC. 13. Splitgate. Arena Warfare. Splitgate. Arena Warfare is another attempt at a modern take on the FPS genre, this time in the form of a tactical team-based shooter rather than a battle royale. Splitgate is an arena shooter that's reminiscent of Halo. The dev team is made up of several Halo 3 veterans, so the similarities aren't coincidental. Where things start to take a unique turn is when you get into team-based gunplay. As well as featuring jetpacks, Splitgates allows players to place portals around the map that they can then shoot into. This opens up a world of tactical possibilities that brought the game praise across the board. The biggest drawback that Splitgate faces is the dwindling player base. Finding balanced lobbies can be difficult, but that doesn't take away from the staller gameplay. Game available on PC. 12. Red Trigger. Free-to-play FPS puzzle games are exceedingly rare, making Red Trigger an underrated gem that needs more attention. It's not a long game, taking just over an hour to complete by average estimations, but this is kind of understandable as it was actually developed by one person as their final university project. In this bite-sized game, the player incarnates a computer virus and is tasked with corrupting a computer system by shooting blocks to expand or extract them. It's a quick experience, but one that is well worth playing if you're looking to kill an hour or two. Game available on PC. 11. No More Room in Hell. No More Room in Hell is a Source FPS horror game that was named Mod of the Year in 2011 by PC Gamer magazine. Despite it being over a decade later, it's still one of the best free horror and FPS games out there. No More Room in Hell features two different game modes, including Objective, which involves players trying to escape the map alive, similar to Left 4 Dead. Each map features a set of randomized goals and routes, increasing the replayability that the game has. In the second game mode, Survival, players must defend specific sectors from increasingly aggressive hordes of zombies until a rescue vehicle arrives. As a co-op source game, No More Room in Hell delivers precisely what most players will expect. It hasn't got the kind of player base that Left 4 Dead has, but it does deliver similar gameplay that will keep you and your friends entertained for hours. Game available on PC. 10. Warface. Warface is primarily built around player versus player content. If you're looking for a free FPS game that prioritizes PvE content, then you might want to check some of the other best free FPS games on this list. Understandably, as a game with such a heavy PvP focus, that's where the majority of the dev team's attention has gone. Players choose between 5 different classes, each with its own unique abilities focused on various aspects of tactical teamplay. For example, medics are capable of reviving teammates, while riflemen provide additional ammunition. That's not to say that there isn't anything in Warface for a PvE enthusiast, though. There are plenty of missions that pit you against the environment, whether solo or with a team. They just aren't as plentiful as the various PvP activities that you can take part in. While Warface is free to play, there are a lot of microtransactions, primarily revolving around cosmetics. If that doesn't bother you, it's an excellent timesink that can, and will, hook you for weeks, if not months on end. Game available on PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch. 9. Planetside 2. FPS MMO games are in fashion recently. Being one of the first of its genre, Planetside 2 hosts the biggest shooter-based PvP battles in history. It even has a Guinness World Record to its name. The battle that won them the award featured over 1283 players participating in a single battle, in real time, on the same map. That's what Planetside 2 is all about. It features 3 different factions in constant conflict over the shared map. Players get the option to specialize in different classes and level up to unlock additional weapons, all in the name of seizing zones and territory from the 2 opposing teams. In terms of pure PvP gameplay, Planetside 2 is one of the most impressive FPS games ever released. You actually feel like you're taking part in a full-scale war when you play, rather than a random match-made skirmish. Game available on PC, PlayStation 4. 8. Quake Champions. Quake Champions is an action-packed, fast-paced FPS arena shooter. Much like previous entries in the series, it's dominated by vertical-based, rocket jump gameplay. Players get to choose between a roster of champions featured in the game, including Doomguy and BJ from Wolfenstein, each with their own unique abilities, skills, and a plethora of different weapons and explosives. Matches are fast-paced and not for the faint of heart, with a very steep learning curve to boot. That being said, the title does have a very dedicated fanbase, and there's a reason for that. It's pure, unadulterated fun. Especially once you start to get the hang of the mechanics. Quake Champions is an acquired taste. The frantic gameplay lends itself to players more accustomed to hectic, fast combat rather than slow and strategic gameplay. For those who are fans of arena shooters, this game has a lot to offer, even if it's still somehow in early access after all this time. Game available on PC. 7. Paladins. Paladins was released for PC, Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch in 2018. Meaning you have access to the hero shooter no matter what you're playing on, and the same goes for your friends too thanks to crossplay. Just as well, too, because Paladins is an absolute blast to play. The game is set in a unique world that blends sci-fi with mythology. In this world, 2 primary factions are fighting over different beliefs regarding how magic should be used. One side wants it to be kept for a select few, while the other believes that magic should be used for the greater good. In terms of gameplay, Paladins is a 5v5 tactical team-based shooter. Each player picks a unique champion, similar to Overwatch or Rainbow Six Siege, and then fights over various stylish maps and different game modes. Paladins is a gem in the free-to-play FPS genre that might not be as popular as it once was, but you owe it to yourself to give it a try. Game available on PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch. 6. Team Fortress 2. Team Fortress 2 is easily a Hall of Fame free FPS game. Despite the fact that updates have slowed down over the years, it's still incredibly popular and regularly breaks into the Steam Top 10 for active player count. Team Fortress 2 might not look like a serious game, but there's a dedicated section of the fanbase that takes it very seriously. Each of the pickable characters is over-stylized with their own looks and personality, although you probably already know that. Primarily, the 2 teams on the map are battling over combat-based objectives. Given the focus on character abilities rather than pure gun skill, Team Fortress 2 is deceptively tactical. You wouldn't realize that if you just jumped into a random game, though. If you're looking for a casual, silly, and fun F2P FPS that still has a competitive edge for those who want it, Team Fortress 2 is easily the best free shooter out right now that meets all of those criteria. Game available on PC. 5. Destiny 2. Destiny has had a shaky history, with internal conflict resulting in dramatic changes being made to the original game just before it was released. The sequel didn't fare much better, with Activision breathing down Bungie's neck. Since splitting from Activision, though, Destiny 2 has become the definitive free MMO FPS for all systems. While a lot of the game is locked behind the Beyond Light paywall, the free version gives you access to an expansive campaign that serves as a way to ease yourself into the universe. You'll get to pick your class from either a warlock, hunter, or titan and experience most of the planets and enemies that Destiny has to offer. If you're a fan of the sci-fi FPS MMO gameplay, you can upgrade to the regular edition to unlock all the extra content added since Destiny 2 was first released. Game available on PC, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox X and S Series, Xbox One. 4. Valorant. Is Valorant the Counter-Strike Go killer many thought it would be before launch? Not quite, at least so far, but it has poached some of that game's biggest names for itself, so there must be something to it. Valorant is a hero shooter crossed with a squad shooter, making it something of a mesh between Overwatch and Counter-Strike Go. It maintains the hip-fire-based shooting mechanics that allow Counter-Strike to stand out as an FPS, but it blends that with unique abilities and skills to bring an extra level of tactical gameplay to your matches. If you're looking for a more stylized and slightly more intricate version of Counter-Strike Go, then Valorant is a good alternative free FPS that has a pretty bright future ahead. Struggling to know where to start with Valorant? We're here to help. Game available on PC. 3. Call of Duty. Warzone. Warzone is killing it right now. It took the Battle Royale genre by storm when it was first released, and that momentum hasn't slowed down one bit. If you're one of the few people that haven't played it yet, it follows the usual Battle Royale premise of dropping you and your team into the map via a flyover. From there, you scavenge gear on the ground, loot, and try to be the last one standing. However, what sets Warzone apart is that it tries its best to eliminate RNG from your gameplay. Rather than solely relying on weapons you find, players can call in preset classes using currency you find out in the world. This currency is also used to buy your teammates back when they die, as well as to acquire the Warzone equivalent of killstreaks. This allows Warzone to be a more mature version of the Battle Royale genre and a far cry from the likes of Fortnite. If you're tired of the building, llamas, and the obnoxiously bright colors, then you need to play this game. Game available on PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One. 2. Apex Legends. Speaking of Battle Royale games, Apex Legends is a middle ground between the grit of Warzone and the bright, character-based nature of Fortnite. It's one of the best free FPS games out there, and its connection to Titanfall also makes it an amazing alternative while we wait for a third game. When it was first released, Apex Legends was considered to be the pinnacle of Battle Royale gameplay. While it lost that momentum over time, the Steam release, as well as active support from Respawn, both pushed it back into the limelight. It's not often that a hero-based Battle Royale comes along, and it's even rarer that it's done right, but Apex Legends pulls it off wonderfully, and it's only just getting started. Game available on PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch. 1. Counter-Strike. Global Offensive. Whether it was a good idea to make Counter-Strike Go free-to-play is an argument you can have all day. What matters is that it is, meaning you have easy access to one of the biggest FPS games ever made. If you've never played or watched Counter-Strike before, then you might find that the game feels a bit outdated. The graphics aren't exactly cutting edge, and the gameplay can come off as clunky and maybe a tad slow, especially if you're coming from modern free FPS games like Warzone. Don't let that put you off. There's a reason why Counter-Strike Go is one of the most popular esports of all time. The level of tactical depth in the game is unlike anything you're going to find in any other FPS, although that means that there's a steep learning curve. Whether you're trying to learn recoil patterns, map layouts, the in-game economy, the meta, or grenade spots, you can expect to spend a serious amount of time training yourself on the more nuanced areas of Counter-Strike Go. Counter-Strike Go is a hardcore FPS, but once you get into it, you can quickly lose thousands of hours, so make sure you clear your calendar before you download it. Game available on PC. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe on my channel. And write in comments what is your favorite free FPS game.